Hi scholar, welcome to Post-Class channel. If you are preparing for NECO exam, WAEC exam, JAMB exam or any other college exam, then this video is for you. So the title of this video is Triangle, focusing on classifications, properties, theorems, congruency, and etc. So this topic is very crucial and important, especially the foundational parts. So you need to understand the fundamentals of triangle before you can start solving problems involving triangle. So without any further ado, let's get started. The first subtopic we'll consider under triangle is triangle in geometry, right? So triangle is a part of geometry, right? So what's a triangle? A triangle is a three-sided polygon formed by joining three non-collinear points with straight line segments. The line segments are called sides, the meeting points are called vertices, and the interior space is called the region of the triangle, right? A triangle is usually denoted by triangle ABC, where A, B, and C are its vertices. Now let's explain the statement, right? Now, looking at this triangle, we can call it triangle ABC, right? As denoted by this, right? Now, next, this triangle has 3 points. The first point is point A, point B, and point C. These points are called vertices, right? Where two lines meet, like this is a line and this another line, is called a vertex, the vertex of the triangle. So we have 3 vertices, 1, 2, and 3, right? Then this region, this space bounded within the triangle is called the what? Region of the triangle, just as this statement mentioned, right? So those are the basic properties of a triangle. Now moving on, how can we classify triangle? Classifications of triangle, right? So triangles can be classified by sides and by angles. So let's focus on the first one, classification of triangles based on sides, right? So the first one is scalene triangle. Now let's look at the properties of scalene triangle. All 3 sides have different lengths. All 3 angles are different. What does that mean? It means this side, right, is not equal to this side, neither is it equal to this side. It simply means if this side is 5 centimeter, right, this side would be 6 centimeter and this side will be 7 centimeter. This kind of triangle is called a scalene triangle. And similarly, the angles are also different. That means this angle is different from the size of this angle and it's also different from the size of this angle, right? This angle could be 60 degree, 40 degree, this one could be 100 degree, and this one could be what? 40 degree. So the angles are different and the sides are different. Such kind of triangle is called a scalene triangle, right? The next type of triangle we have based on sides is called isosceles triangle. And let's check the properties. 2 sides are equal, right? The angles opposite the equal sides are equal. Now looking at this triangle, it's telling us that this side is equal to this side, but it's not equal to this side, right? So that's the property of an isosceles triangle. Only 2 sides are equal. Similarly, only 2 angles are also equal. That means this angle, right, is equal to this angle, but it's not equal to this angle. Take note, the rule of an isosceles triangle says the base angles are equal. The base angle, that means if here is 60 degree, this angle will also be what? 60 degree, right? Then here will be what? 80 degree, right? So let's move to the next type of triangle based on side. Now another classification of triangle is equilateral triangle. Now the properties are: 1, all 3 sides are equal. Then 2, each interior angle is equal to 60 degree, right? Now the properties are: this side is equal to this side and is equal to this side. That means if this side is 2 centimeter, this side also be 2 centimeter and this side also be 2 centimeter. Similarly, the angles are also equal, right? That means if this angle is 60 degree, this one also be 60 degree and this one also be what? 60 degree, because we already know that the sum of angle in a triangle is equal to 180. So when you divide 180 by 3, each of this angle takes what? 60 degree. Now we are done with classification based on side. Now we want to move on to classification based on angle. Now what are the types of triangle or classification of triangle based on angle? The first one is the acute angled triangle. Now the property says all 3 interior angles are less than 90 degree. That means each of this angle must not be greater than 90 degree. That's the property of an acute angled triangle. That means this angle must be less than 90. So this angle could be 50 degree, right? This one also must be less than 90. This angle also could be let's say 60 degree, right? Then this angle will be 70 degree, right? So that when you sum it up, you have 180 degree. So you can see each of this angle is not greater than 90 degree. They are all less than 90. So such type of triangle is called an acute angled triangle. Next, we have the right angled triangle. What are the properties? One angle is equal to 90 degree. Side opposite the right angle is called hypotenuse. Now, let's explain that. In a right angled triangle, one angle must be 90 degree. That means the perpendicular side, you can see this line is straight. The perpendicular line is equals to 90 degree. And to identify that, you just put a small square in between here, right? So this is telling us that this angle is 90 degree. Then the properties also says side opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. That means this is the 90 degree, right? The side opposite this 90 degree is this particular side. So the name of this side is called hypotenuse, right? This is spelling hypotenuse. So the name of this side is called hypotenuse. Now the next classification based on angle is the obtuse angled triangle. Now this property says one angle is greater than 90 degree. In a obtuse angle triangle, one of the angle must be greater than 90 degree. You can see this angle, right? This is actually greater than what? 90 degrees. So the angle could be, let's say, 170 or 160 degree, right? So this is a typical example of an obtuse angle triangle because one of the angle is greater than 90 degree. Next, we have, okay, want to explain further. I want to explain each of this. I want to go in depth in the explanation of each of these triangle. The first one we have here is isosceles triangle, right? One property says base angle are equal. We have established that the base angle, this angle and this angle are always what? Equal. But this is not equal, right? So if here is 60 degree, no, if here is 50 degree, right, here will also be what? 50 degree. So that's the property of an isosceles triangle. Then the altitude from the vertex bisect the base. Altitude means height. So this is the height of the triangle. So it's saying that it bisects the base. So when we draw a line from the altitude of the triangle, right, it must bisect this line into two equal parts, right? So it bisects this line and this line into this line and this line into two equal parts. That means if the whole of this angle is let's say 10 centimeter, that means this part alone will be 5 centimeter and this part alone will be 5 centimeter. So that's the rule. In an isosceles triangle, the altitude from the vertex, this is the vertex, right, bisects the base, this is the base of the triangle, into two equal parts, right? Next, isosceles triangle. Let's analyze isosceles triangle. All angles are 60 degree. We have established that this part is 60 degree, this part is 60 degree, and this angle is also 60 degree, right? And it is also equiangular. Equiangular means they have the same angle. So that's that. Now the next subtopic is important theorems related to hypotenuse, right? The first theorem says Pythagoras theorem. I know some of you might have heard of this statement before. Pythagoras theorem says the hypotenuse square is equals to opposite square plus adjacent square. This is the theorem of a right angle triangle, that the hypotenuse is the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the opposite square and the adjacent square. Now, this is a typical example of a right angle triangle, right? We have established that one part must be 90 degree. The side opposite the 90 degree is the hypotenuse. So this part is the hypotenuse, this side is the opposite, and this side is the adjacent. Good. Now, the formula is saying, the theorem is saying hypotenuse square is equals to the opposite square plus adjacent square. In the next video, we shall be solving problems involving Pythagoras theorem. But for now, we just want to understand the fundamentals, right? Now, the next one says, and the next theorem says angle sum theorem. And what does this theorem say? It says the sum of the three interior angles of a triangle is always 180 degree. What does that mean? It simply means if this angle is angle A degree, this angle is angle B degree, and this angle is angle C degree. The theorem is saying the sum of these three angles must equal 180 degree. That means A plus B plus C must be equal to what? 180 degree. It must not the sum must not exceed 180 degree. Neither must be less than 180 degree. That's the angle sum theorem. The third theorem, exterior angle theorem. Now this theorem says the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the two opposite interior angle, right? Now this, where's the exterior angle? All this angle like this are the interior angle, right? You can see it interior, inside. Why this angle is the exterior angle? So let's name this angle angle A, right? Angle A is the exterior angle, right? Then this angle B, angle C, and angle D, right? Angle B, C, and D are the interior angle. The theorem says the exterior angle, which is angle A, is equal to the sum of the two opposite interior angles. So the opposite angle from this exterior angle are angle B and angle C. So the theorem is saying that when you add angle B and angle C, the result is angle what? A. So let's write it. It's saying B plus C must be equal to A. That's B degree plus C degree must be equal to A degree, right? So let's insert the value now. That means if angle B is 20 degree, right, and angle C is 50 degree, automatically angle A will be what? I give you 1 second to answer that. Good. Will be 70 degree, right? So 20 plus 50 equals 70 degree. So that's what the exterior angle theorem is saying. Next, we move to the triangle inequality theorem. What does this theorem say? It says the sum of any two sides of a triangle is always greater than the third side, right? Now let's analyze this. If this is side A, this is side B, and this is side C. The theorem is saying when you add any two of the side, it must be greater than the third side. That's intuitively true, right? If side A is 5 centimeter and side B is 2 centimeter and side C is, let's say, 4 centimeter. Now let's confirm. It says when you sum any two sides, it must be greater than the third side. Let's confirm. Let's sum side A and side C. 5 plus 4 gives 9, and the 9 is actually greater than the third side, which is what? 2 centimeter. Let's test for these two. 5 plus 2 is what? 7, which is actually greater than the third side, which is what? 4 centimeter. So it is very, very true. Now, next theorem, midpoint theorem. What does the midpoint theorem say? It says the line joining the midpoint of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side and half its length. Okay, let's analyze that. Now, the midpoint of this side is somewhere here, must be half. Same thing, the midpoint of this side is somewhere here, right? Now the theorem is saying when you join these 2 points, right? Good. It must be parallel to this side. That means this line and this line must be parallel. I taught you what parallel line is. They are lines that can never meet. Now the theorem is not only saying they will be parallel. The theorem is also saying the size of this side rather is half the side of this, half the length of this side rather. So if this side is 10 centimeter, for example, the theorem is saying that the length of this side will be what? 5 centimeters. So please put this theorem in your head. It will be very important when we start solving problems. Now, the next concept or next subtopic is triangle congruency, right? Now, two triangles are congruent if they have the same shape and size. So that's the basic definition for congruency. When two shapes have the same shape and size, they are said to be congruent. Now, how do you test for congruency? How do you know that two shapes are the same, right? So the first condition is SSS, and the formula is side, side, side. It says if 3 sides of one triangle are equal to 3 sides of another triangle, right? Now, this is the first triangle, this is the second triangle, right? The theorem is saying the 3 sides of this first triangle, right? That means this side, and this side, right, must be equals to this side, and this side. So automatically, these two triangles are congruent because this side is equal to this side, right? This side is equal to this side. Oh, let me finish it, please. Good. This side is equals to this side, and this side is equal to this side. So these triangles are congruent. Let me give an instance of a triangle that will not be congruent based on SSS. If you have this triangle, let's say this, right? This is the first triangle and this is the second triangle. Then if you have here as 1, 2, and 2, for example, right? This type of triangle is actually an isosceles. You can see 2 sides are equal, third side is not equal, right? Then for this one, you have 1, 2, and 3. Automatically, these two triangles are not congruent because this side is equal to this side is equal to this side, but this side is not equal equal to this side. For congruency based on SSS, the sides of the two triangles rather, must be equal. The next test for congruency is the SAS, right? Now, this test says if two sides and the included angle of one triangle are equal to two sides and the included angle of another triangle. What does that mean? We have the first side, right? We have the second side, and we have the included angle, right? Then same thing, we have the first side here, we have the second side here, and we have the included angle, right? So the test is saying these two triangles are congruent, right? Because this angle is equal to this angle, this side is equal to this side, and this side is equal to this side. Now, an example of triangles that will not be congruent based on SAS will be, let's have this like this: first triangle, second triangle, and third, okay, second triangle. Now, this side and this side, right? Then this side and this side, then included, but this is not included, but this one is 3. Very good. You can see now that these triangles are not congruent. Although this side is equal to this, okay, this side is equal to this side, and the included angle is corresponding, but the side here is not equal to this side. So automatically these two triangles are not congruent, right? So we'll move to the third one. The third one says ASA, which is angle side angle. It says if two angles and the included side of one triangle are equal to the two angles and the included side of another. Let's explain that. That means you have one angle here, you have another angle here, then the included side, right? Then for here, you have one angle here and you have another angle here, then the included side. Automatically, these two triangles are congruent. Now, I'm going to draw a shape. You tell me whether it is congruent or it is not. Are these triangles congruent? Now answer. I give you 1 second. 1. Do you guess right? Okay. The correct answer is they are not congruent, right? Because this side is included between the two angles, but this side is not included between the two angles, right? Good. Next, we move to the fourth test for congruency, which is AAS, angle side. It says if two angles and a non-included sides are equal, right? So we have something like this. We have one angle here, we have another angle here, non-included side here. We have one angle here, right? And we have another angle here, non-included side, right? But if you check very well, you see that the non-included side is corresponding to this angle that has two curves, right? So these angles, these triangles are congruent. Now we'll draw another triangle. You will tell me whether it is congruent or not. Now, are these triangles congruent? I give you 2 seconds to answer. 1, 2. Good. The answer is they are actually congruent. I know you might want to say they are not congruent because this one is congruent, right? They are actually congruent, right? Because if you check, this angle is equal to this angle is equal to this angle. And if you check the side value, you see that this side, right, is corresponding to this side because this side is close to the one with one angle, right? And this side is also close to the one with what? One angle, that is one curve rather. So these two triangles are congruent. And lastly, the last test for congruency is RHS, which says right angle hypotenuse side. What does it say? Now it says the RHS test says for right angle triangle, if the hypotenuse and a side of one right angled triangle are equal to the hypotenuse and the corresponding side of the other right angle triangle, then the right angle triangle are congruent. What does that mean? Good. Now for a right angle triangle, one side must be 90 degree, one angle rather must be what? 90 degree. Good. Then the test is saying if the hypotenuse of this triangle is actually here, right? So here, right? If the hypotenuse and a side of one right angle triangle, so this is the hypotenuse and a side, right, is also equals to the hypotenuse, right, of the other triangle and a side, right, then the triangle is said to be what? Congruent. So these triangles are congruent because this side, hypotenuse equals to the hypotenuse, and the adjacent, which is this side, also equals to the what? Adjacent. So I will draw two triangles. You will tell me whether they are congruent or not. Now, are these triangles congruent? I give you 2 seconds to answer. Do you guess right? The answer is actually no, they are not congruent, because the hypotenuse is equal to the hypotenuse, but the adjacent here is not equal to the what? Adjacent here. And that's the last test for congruency. So you need to master the definitions and the principles guiding congruency theorems. So we have come to the end of this video. I believe by now you should have understood how to classify triangles, the properties of triangles, the theorems, and the congruency principle, because in the next videos we are going to start practicalizing them. So thanks for watching. I wish to see you in the next video. God bless you and bye.